Hi guys, welcome back to the DrCliffAuD vlog. This is vlog number 11, and I just want to give you an update on what's been happening here in the last week. And I also want to go over the budget that has been progressing through this build out process. So I'll keep you up to speed with what's going on there, how much things are costing us, so on and so forth. But first and foremost, I want to take you through some of the different areas. I don't feel like you'll think that there's a lot of changes, but there have been some important things that have been happening over the course of this last week. The first thing that you'll notice over here is that they are actually starting to bring in some drywall, which is exciting. Once the drywall goes up, it's going to feel a lot more like an actual clinic. And then over here, the first treatment room, the last time that I spoke with you guys, or a couple weeks ago, I was saying that all of this was going to be glass. We elected to change this to be drywall on this first room just because the checkout area is going to be right next to this first treatment room. And if we left it being glass, then I'd be worried that there's going to be a lot of sound transmission and it'd be very distracting for the audiologist and for the patient who's treating in this room. So the other thing that you can see if you look up is you'll see a lot of these little red things sticking down. That is the sprinkler system. So hopefully we never have a fire, of course, and someone has already pointed out that we don't have a back door to escape, so we're gonna have to keep some bricks inside of our rooms to bust out the windows if we do have a fire, but that has gone in, the entire sprinkling system has gone in, and electrical has happened. So there's been a lot of electrical outlets installed inside of all of the rooms here. In fact, one of the things that other audiologists and other business owners told me is that go with more electrical outlets than you think you will actually need. So that's exactly what we did. We put a variety of different outlets in different locations inside of the office. And you can see here that every single one of these is where electric will go to. So there's probably, I think, 3 outlets per room in each of the treatment rooms. And of course, we'll have the ability to do the Ethernet cabling for internet and stuff like that. But the other thing that is a little bit different since the last vlog that I did is actually the plumbing. So you can see that there's been copper pipes installed in here as well, and then some more, I guess, PVC piping that's been done inside of the bathrooms here, and then also in the very back of the clinic here, which is the break room. They've installed a bunch of plumbing back there. But other than that, it doesn't really seem like a whole lot else has been done. There were delays because it was really rainy this entire week in Phoenix, so they didn't get a chance to do a lot of the stuff up on the roof that they wanted to do. But it looks like most of that raininess is behind us now. You can see outside it is gorgeous again. That is pretty typical Phoenix weather right there. So hopefully this next week we won't experience any more delays. Okay, so that's basically it for the updates inside of here. Let's go ahead and sit down and I'm going to go through some of the numbers with you on the budget. All right, guys, so what I have here is the actual budget for the clinic. And I'm going to do an overlay of this as I go through it. But we have all of the different line items, what the estimates were, where the markup is for our general contractor, and then where we stand with our build out balance. The first thing that you'll see here is that we actually had a build out balance of $227,000 to account for everything that we want to do inside of this space. Just to revert back to the final settlement statement, the amount that we had built into the loan for the construction holdback was $260,000. And we are probably going to be exceeding that. Not probably, we are going to be exceeding that number. When we kind of start at the top and work our way down, everything started with the permits that we had. Wasn't really a huge ding to the budget, but the really big ticket items that you can see here are the HVAC system and the framing and the drywall. So those are approaching $30,000 a piece for those things. We initially got quoted around $90,000 for electric, which was just ridiculous. When I look at it here, that's around $25,000. That has actually significantly come down, of course, but you can just see the running balance. So every time that something is budgeted and then gets purchased, it just shows you how much we're whittling down on that total budget. So of course, starting at $227,000, and it works its way down by several thousands of dollars, and then you get to these big ticket items, and it drops pretty quickly, and to the point where we get down to where the finishings with the carpenter happen, and that gets our budget down to $2,211.06, and then everything after that is us basically exceeding the budget. So all of those numbers that are in the brackets there indicate how much we've gone over. And by the time you get to the very bottom of this, with all of the different, appliances and the painting, electric, all of that, just to kind of finish out the space, you can see that we are $49,744.81 over the budget. And so that brings into question, are we actually going to be finding ways to cut corners and cut costs and things of that nature? And really the answer is no. I think that there's some things that we will probably make an adjustment to, but I don't really foresee us cutting corners on the aesthetic and the functionality of what we're trying to do. I mean, a lot of the acoustic treatments to keep reverberation and echo down, we're still going to do those things, even though those ceiling tiles that we had talked about were going to cost probably around, was it $10,000 or $12,000? So I posted a poll on YouTube and LinkedIn, and the design option that you guys picked, I'll do an overlay of that here real quick as well. That, just to do that inside of the treatment rooms and the manager's office and the break room, was going to cost around $12,000 just to get the tiles. That being said, we've elected to just stick with the drywall in some of the rooms that we do not see patients in. So the 3 treatment rooms, we're still going to have those acoustic tiles in because it will be more favorable for the acoustics of that environment. But at the end of the day, we are trying to save a little bit of money on that, but nothing that would really impact someone who comes into our clinic. Might impact staff a little bit, but I think that for the most part, we'll do other considerations in those spaces if we run into reverberation issues. So the question then becomes is, if we're exceeding this budget, will we be able to get a loan for that? And we just spoke with our lenders on Friday, and it should not be a problem if we end up exceeding our budget as we indicate here. They totally understand that, inside of our clinic, we end up, we want to have a really nice aesthetic, and that really adds to the value of what we're trying to provide for our patients. So I don't like going over the budget, and it's not something I really wanted to do, but when you blend it into the rest of the loan, it really makes it seem a little bit more reasonable. Of course, it doesn't mean that we want to exceed it by much more than that, and hopefully we don't, but I think that it'll be a nice space, and I don't think we'll regret extending that at all. So that's pretty much it. I will have a link to this budget so you can kind of get line item by line item where we're at. I'm trying again to be as transparent about this whole entire process as possible. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. Other than that, guys, I will go ahead and end this video for this week, and I will see you next weekend.